What's going on, people? This is Shaw Harris of the Rebel Society, and on today's episode of Interviews with the Rebel, I actually traveled up to Richmond, Virginia to sit with the videographer and cinematographer and director Jordan Gonzalez of Diamond Media. In this video, I actually got to nerd out a little bit. We got to talk about cameras, talk about content, talk about how to actually grow a video business. So you don't want to miss this episode, and why would you miss the episode when you're about to watch it right now? So, this is the Jordan Gonzalez episode. What's going on, people? This is Shaw Harris of the Rebel Society, and today we are doing another episode of Interviews with the Rebel. So today, like I said, once again, I'm actually up in Richmond, hanging out, actually linked with a couple people while I'm here, but right now, we have my man, Jordan Gonzalez. How's everything going, brother?
Going well.
Good.
Appreciate you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for, being a part of this, man. So, I was telling him before we got rolling is that I actually found out about you because a couple people that you actually, shot music videos for, I've actually known for a couple of years. Shout out to Noah O. And that
Dirty Rice.
Yeah. So, and the thing that I feel like made your projects look dope, or what caught my eye, was that you actually had a team. The videos were sick, and I felt like you was always working. Like, even when I started following, it seemed like every couple of days you're putting out something new. And I was like, yo, this is sick, yo. And more people need to do stuff on this higher level. So I just always, appreciate that, and that's what caught my eye. So
I definitely appreciate that.
No problem. So for the people that don't know you, who are you and what do you do?
Well, like you said, my name is Jordan Gonzalez. I am a music video director based out of Richmond, Virginia. I've been here since I was 5 years old. I've been shooting music videos for 3 years now. That's who I am and what I do. My story is a little bit longer, but I think we'll get into that shortly.
We'll get into that. All right, so first question was the icebreaker question is, which music artist do you relate to the most, as far as, not just music, but story, all that stuff?
Yeah, so he just dropped this question on me right before we started.
Right.
I really didn't know what I was going to be getting asked. So this one is on the spot, especially because it's talking about the people I potentially want to work with.
Right.
So, I think, I think it's going to be a crazy one, but I honestly think out of all the artists right now that are relevant, that if I say their name, most people will know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
I think would be Big Crit.
Okay. Why you say that though?
Cause Crit's always been an underdog.
Okay.
He came in. He's from Memphis. He's from the South.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Got a real crazy accent. A lot of his stuff coming up was being produced by other people,
right,
and his sound was kind of getting scattered. And I noticed that he decided to take on the craft of producing himself. And I think from the beginning of him doing that, his music has just exponentially grown and inspired me, and I'm sure a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But
You like his new project?
man, I love his new project, for real. And I be telling people, I think he's one of the few artists that are of A level or B level celebrity status whose projects have all just gotten better each time.
Okay.
I have other favorites. I wouldn't even necessarily say Crit is my favorite of an artist. He's one of them for sure.
Okay.
But there's other artists that I really, really admire. And every project doesn't hit the same way.
True.
They have that one that left that impact on you. And for me, Crit is one of the few artists that, like this last one, had the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And before that, it had been the one prior, and before that, the one prior.
Right.
And so
he's always getting better with each project.
He's always getting better, man. And the features always become more significant. The message is always there, and it never strays away. And if anything, I think he's honed in on the message more.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot less trunk slap music, and it's a lot more. What are we doing? This is how we're looking. This is where we could be going.
Okay.
And I really admire that about him.
Okay. Cool. So I'm real big into X-Men and comic books where they have their origin story. Right. Where they had a one like Joker where they tell you how this person got started, how they became who the person?
Much because I ain't seen that yet.
Yeah, I ain't gonna talk about that. I ain't gonna talk about that. I haven't seen it either, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, so, that's I'm trying to get in there ASAP. I wanted to go this week, but
yeah, I gotta check it out myself. But what is your 1 to 2 minute origin story of how you got started?
Man, I got started by creating out of necessity and fun. Okay. I started creating when I was about 10, 11 years old. I was into skateboarding, as was the group of friends that I hung out with. And we wanted to get sponsored, you know what I mean? That was, if you're a young kid and you hoop, you want to go to the league. If you're a young kid and you skate, you want to get sponsored so you can go pro. And so the route to doing that is by a sponsor me tape, which you don't, back then everyone wasn't a videographer back then. So if you even wanted to get sponsored, there was no, I know a few people that film, we could call them and hit them up, let's see how much they would charge to come film. No one was doing that. Yeah. So if you wanted to get filmed or film or put together a tape, someone on the team had to do that.
Right.
And on our team, which it was about 8 to 10 of us, that like every day we skated, like that was our jobs. Mm-hmm. It was 2 of us that filmed out of the 8 to 10 of us. So and the 2 of us still do it today. He's still my BTS guy to this day. He still comes on my shoots. He's Blue Flame Media. Shout out to Tony Walker Jr., Thrasher Teasy, and he still skates too. That man's still out there risking his life for the culture.
Right.
But yeah, that's how we got started. And as I grew up, when I got into high school, 15, 16, I got into barbering. I also got into cars. When I was in the cars, I was doing some photography, and when I went off to college, I became a barber. And when I was in my first barbershop is when Instagram launched, and I took my photography skills, the little bit that I had developed just from the years and years of practicing, and I applied it to marketing on Instagram for barbering. So I took really good headshots of clean haircuts with good lighting against a clean backdrop.
And probably nobody was doing that back then.
And no one was doing that. The few barbers that were utilizing Instagram already, they were just using their phone. And like back then, I believe people had like iPhone 5 still. You know what I mean? So
that camera ain't like how it is now.
And that's like the newer cameras I think that were out back then. It's crazy, but like quality in your marketing converts to quality in your service, converts to quality in your profits.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I've always stuck by that. A lot of the things that I apply to my business now, I learned from those years of barbering.
Okay.
Which, not to get too distracted, but while I was barbering, I got into motorcycles. Unfortunately, I got into a motorcycle accident with someone who was a distracted driver on their phone. Please don't text and drive. And it kind of took barbering away from me. Maybe not necessarily permanently, but
for a while.
Yeah, I had about 3 major procedures over like the next year and a half. They each one sat me down damn near permanently, or if not for 2 to 3 months of long recovery. And so in that time of recovery, when I was literally just taking pain pills and going to physical therapy and doing that whole routine, I was either trying to get around the people that were doing the stuff I used to love to do. So I played on a softball team, so I was either trying to go out to the game still and shoot some action shots at them, or I was going out to the stunt road where they take the motorcycles and they practice in their wheelies and stoppies, and I was shooting them. Or my roommate at the time, he was pretty decent with the females, and he had a couple model homegirls, that found out I did pictures, and they was all, oh he's so cool, would you take pictures of me? So I had a couple practice subjects to take pictures of, and I fell in love with the craft the same way I did with barbering.
You're like really like the first person that I've had on this show that actually does video. So usually I talk to people who are, real estate agents or, have restaurants or, boutiques and all that. So a lot of stuff that I'm gonna ask you is stuff that I haven't really asked anybody else. And I feel like a lot of people that follow me are like content creators, so they want to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, whatever. So
that's dope. That's dope.
When you were starting out, what was your camera setup?
Oh man, when I was starting out, so my very first camera was a camcorder, high 8 Sony tape cassette. I
Like
still
the big
have it.
shoulder joint.
No, it's not big. It was a Handycam, so it was like
gotcha,
a family
gotcha.
camcorder.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we had some screw-on wide-angle lens attachments for it. I actually still own all of that stuff, and we still shoot sparingly.
Yeah.
But on a couple projects where I've implemented VHS effect, it's been real VHS, which is a double-edged sword in itself. But you know, that was the very first camera that I had bought.
Okay.
And I started on, and I think I really played on that camera for like 3 years.
Okay.
When I was younger, learning it and shooting on it. It's got all the scratches to prove it.
Okay. So what about
Music videos though? That's what you mean?
No. That was it right there.
Okay, cool.
So a lot of people feel like, you know, especially if they look at you now, they feel like you was probably like always popping. But what did that first of you know, shoot music videos, what did that first 6 months to a year look like as far as money that you was bringing in?
What money? Yo. So my first 6 months of doing music videos, I think I'm not gonna say I earned, because it's gone. It was gone before it even came in, and I didn't even know it.
Right.
But money I had handed to me for videos I was shooting and work I was doing, music video related, I think the first 6 months I probably made or was handed $1,500 the whole 6 months.
Okay. A lot of people don't even make that, so I mean, that's a good starting
All right,
point.
so and to give that some context, the cheapest I ever shot a music video for was the very first one I did. It was for my roommate at the time, and it was to help him pay his rent faster.
Okay.
And it was for $150. The second video I shot was for $300, and I've never shot anything under that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I probably did 5 videos that first 6 months. It was about a video a month, I think, was about the pace that I was at.
Okay.
And like that's slow compared to what a lot of people pump out when they start. But if you go back and you look at my music videos, each one changed or got better, and that's what I was focused on at that time.
Right.
Because I was coming from a career of barbering already, and you know, what went along with my accident, my financial situation allowed for me to take a small grace period of time to really hone in on what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go next.
So you wasn't really like pressed for money, pretty much.
I wasn't out here pressed to shoot a certain amount of videos to pay a certain amount based off just doing this.
Pay your rent and stuff like that.
Not from that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The rent was going to be taken care of another way other than those music videos. Those music videos was something I was doing to set up where I wanted to go next.
Okay. So I know a lot of people start out, and this conversation gonna be all over the place, matter of fact.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people start out, they have like crackhead prices, like, you know, 150, 200, 300. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's a good way to start out, or you should be like, nah, you need to start out, you know, high?
I have mixed opinions about it. I understand that no one is going to hand you a large amount of money without you having something to show that you're good for that amount of money.
True.
A lot of people ask me, yo, how do you get bigger budgets for music videos? How do I can only get X amount of dollars. I can't get anyone to go above X amount of dollars. And quite frankly, the only thing I can think of is that either your final product or your process, one or the other, is only worth or only looks to be worth that amount of money.
True.
And they're like, yeah, well, you know, like, what they only pay me $200. I can only do so much with $200, and I can't argue that. I agree.
Right.
I can't do anything with $200 except say I'm sorry. You might want to look for someone who's a student.
Right.
I refer a lot of people that have those lower budgets to students, and it's not. I don't mean students in the sense of still learning film. I mean students in the sense of they're not paying their bills doing this.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if you're doing this as a craft, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing this as a business. And I think if you're trying to do this as a business,
that's a major difference.
It's a major difference between being a dope creative and being an entrepreneur who runs a good business. And I'm still trying to juggle the two because, like I said, at some points you have to do what isn't necessarily the best business in order to build your creative end.
Yeah.
But at some point you have to totter the seesaw back the other way and find that balance that allows you to grow so that ultimately you can do more creative things. Because the bigger the budget, I've gotten budgets that are upwards of $3,500 for a music video now. But the bigger the budget for the music video, the higher your expenses on the production end because you're expected to do more. So it's either going to be more time involved, more crew involved, or more equipment. You're never going to have someone who just is like, yo, I saw you do that video right there for $3,000. I pay you $15,000 for the same thing. Why would they do that? Who does that? Everyone wants to feel like they got a deal, or at least they got something great from it. And if I'm paying 5 times as much just because I saw that you could do it, but it's the same, it doesn't make any sense. And so when I was getting a $200 budget, I was like, yo, we have to make your video. And I talked about this to the artist. I said, yo, this is not what I want to do. So you understand, this ain't gonna be something I don't want you to be paying me this a year from now to do music videos still. I had that conversation with everyone that I ever shot with for $500, $400, $300. This ain't a permanent thing. We have to make this money that you're giving me look bigger, because I'm going to tell people, or I want people to know that if they gave me 3 times this, I'm good for it. And that's on the business end, that's on the professional side, and that's on the creative end. It's got to be all three in our field, I feel.
I'm with you. Matter of fact, I got a question for that. So what would you suggest if, say, you know, young videographer hit you up and like, all right, so right now I'm only making $200, $300 per shoot. What would you say to that person to be like, what they need to do to kind of get out of that?
The first thing I would say is invest in themselves. Don't ever expect anyone else to do something for you that you're not willing to do for yourself. That's one thing I've learned from life. That's one thing I learned from, you know, my accident that I went through and losing everything I had at that time to having to, you know, rebuild and restart a whole new career and a whole new business. Don't ever expect anyone to do something for you that you're not willing to get out here and do first for yourself. And so, I'm sorry, what was the...
Just what would you tell somebody to actually go to the next level pricing-wise?
Right. So invest in yourself. So what I mean by that, it's not necessarily gear. Sometimes it is gear. Sometimes you do need to go out and you need to have what's needed for that job. That's true, it applies across the board. You can't show up with one camera package when you were expected to have something different. That's just, you know, so that is what it is. But when I say invest in yourself, I mean the time it takes to really better yourself business-wise and creative-wise. So if you're a video person, you're trying to get a bigger budget, okay, how do you conduct your consultations? Do you conduct and do you do business professionally from the jump? Or do you have a structured email where clients inquire first for you for business? Or is your first line of contact your cell phone number on your Instagram page? Because if your cell phone number is on your Instagram page and I just text you and I say, yo, I'm looking for a video, what you charge?
That bothers me.
The amount of respect business-wise that's there is very little from the client or the potential client that's contacting you.
And young videographers need to realize too, the more money that somebody's willing to pay you, the presentation's got to be there too.
But here's the other thing that I found out is that if you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer or the potential client for a moment, you want someone that you can be personable with. And I get personable with every client that I'm gonna end up doing and do business with, especially music video clients.
But you also
gotta
be super professional
too. But up front, you have to be super professional for sure. And you have to develop these boundaries of professionalism where they can understand, okay, he is cool. Yo, we can talk about this on set and, you know, he can understand where I'm coming from and we can relate.
But he's also
and I might even want to invite him out after the shoot to go have some drinks and get dinner. But his business is gonna be A1. I gotta have my end tight because if it's not all in order, then it's not all gonna flow. And he's not gonna just let it happen.
Right.
There has to be that mutual level of respect where the same way my clients expect a minimum from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't expect to see me show up to set 3 hours late or 2 hours late.
True.
Too drunk to do what I do. You know what I mean?
I'm 100% with you.
And so you don't want to create those type of
you don't want to be too cool.
dynamics.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to create that type of dynamic with what's going to be your clients. You just got to keep that separate. You have to find a balance again.
I've been that guy who was like too cool. Like, yeah, we could chop it up, and then that hurt the relationship because they tried to take advantage. I'm like, nah, like, even though I'm like, we cool and everything, but it's still business.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you blur those lines, it gets real messy after
that. It does.
So
it does
you gotta
get messy.
keep that
So I say have a structured, check out your business first. How do you set up your inquiries? Do you have a website where people come through and contact you? If you don't have a website, do you at least have it listed in your bio that you expect a professional email? It doesn't have to say that, but you can say, business inquiries, please email below. And set up an email that's not, a
Gmail or whatever,
ggshootsdopevideos@gmail.com. No, man, it can be a Gmail, but it needs to say bookingswithgg@gmail.com.
Right.
Keep it professional. Learn how to type up an email that doesn't sound like it's coming from you. I know that might sound crazy, but
I think somebody else said that today.
I don't interact back and forth with clients initially. 9 times out of 10, I'm the person people are emailing. There is someone else that has access to my booking email, the Diamond.media, official email. But 9 times out of 10, if they're responding, they've already consulted with me about the response first.
True.
And if I'm responding, I don't need the person I am responding to know who you're still communicating with the business right now.
Right.
And so it's us, it's we, is how can we serve you? It's never me personally until you see me personally.
Gotcha.
Then I represent me in the company, but until then it's a business and you're talking with the business and the entity.
Okay, all right, cool.
So structure it that way, and I think that'll go a long way if you do grow to a point where a label or a manager contacts you and those parameters are in play. They know that they're dealing with someone that they can expect a minimal amount of professionalism from, and they won't have to worry about you missing a due date or ducking a phone call or not responding to emails timely or any other numerous amounts of mistakes that videographers and photographers often make.
Okay.
Because they weren't ready for the opportunity, or whether they didn't understand what was happening.
Okay. So matter of fact, you just said something I just want to piggyback off of.
Okay.
When you first started out, like that first 1 or 2 years, what were some of the mistakes that you made? It could be in shooting, not necessarily in shooting, because everybody gonna run into that, but like business-wise.
Man. So this is my second business I've run.
Okay.
Me being a barber, I was working in the type of barber shop that every barber was sort of their own business. We all were responsible for our own clients, our own bookings, our own schedules, our own reputation, essentially. The shop itself had a reputation, obviously, but as individuals, it was really important that we were tight.
Right.
And everything that I've applied to running my business now, I learned there. I went to business school for 3 semesters of actual business class. I felt that I was learning more in the barbering field related to running a barbershop. You always gonna
learn more in the field than what you learn in class anyway.
And so, me personally, I decided that school wasn't the most useful. It wasn't the best use of my credit nor my,
your time.
My time, really, to be honest. I was on student loans, and it made more sense for me to pursue the craft that I was in and take it to the next level and open a business. So,
what do you think were like 2 or 3 of the things that you feel like you kind of fucked up on that first year or so?
Well, I knew all clients weren't good clients. But I think you have to learn within your specific market. Saying every client ain't a good client is a thing, but how do you identify what a good client looks like within your field is a little bit harder, especially doing music videos.
Yeah.
You got a lot of artists that hit you up themselves and are representing themselves, and they're not looking at it as a business.
Yeah.
And
So how did you feel like you found who your clients are? Because for me, I got to the point where I realized that I'd rather work with people who are like fans of mine, who looks at, who follow me on social media and say like, yo, who comment like, yo, I love your work. I can't wait to work with you. Like, to me, I felt like that worked better because they're going to give me the freedom that I need to kind of pull off something dope. And they got all the trust in the world that I'm going to give them a great end product. So what about for you?
Well, I mean, the first time someone pays you a lot of money and they're a headache the whole time is when you learn that everyone isn't a good client for real. And so for me, I think it's important for if a good client is coming to you because they love what you do good. And so it's important for people who are gonna be your potential clients to be able to read or see or very easily understand what makes you different from your competition.
Right.
Because if they're coming to you for you, you can't lose.
Yeah.
There is really no competition if that's the situation.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think it's important for you to gravitate and accommodate the best you can clients who want you for what you do.
Gotcha.
And what you want to do.
Right.
Because that's the difference too.
Yeah.
What you want to do well. And so that's why when I started shooting these music videos, I worked with these artists and I told them what I wanted to be doing ultimately. I showed them the Lyrical Lemonade platform and showed them what my platform represented if they wanted to be a part of that. I showed them the type of videos I ultimately wanted to shoot, but we can't afford to shoot them, and this is why. Like, this is the reason. I'm sending them BTS of a real set. I'm sending them costs of like real gear. You know what I mean? Like, this is the reason why we can't do this. But this is where we're trying to get to.
And I feel like you need to like let your client know that up front, because then it's like a win-win situation. You might be able to like give a little bit more for a project that you really want to make happen. Instead of just them wanting you to do some bullshit and you just like, then you like nickel and dime. I'm not necessarily nickel and dime, but you charging for every little thing. But man, if it's a win-win situation, you're gonna give a little bit more.
If it ain't one thing that's terrible for killing a creative vibe, it's negotiating.
Oh, most definitely.
Negotiating kills a creative vibe for me. And so I don't even like to do it. A lot of people be like, yo, why you don't got prices? It's because like prices are competitive. Like, you set prices to compete. You set prices to like,
especially if you put it on the website,
get a set amount of dollars back per hour. And what we're doing, we want to grow on every project. I don't want to set any limits to what we could do, and I don't want to set any minimums to X out what we could grow doing. And so when people come to me with a project, I need them to figure out their budget. I can't help guide you to understand what type of product you should expect within a set amount of budget, but I need you to decide what this is worth to you. Is this worth $2,000 total? If the final product came out with how you wanted it, would you spend that and be happy with that? And your service was great and the experience was wonderful? Is this worth that to you? Because if it is, then let's move on forward with that. If it's not worth that, then what else is it worth? And from there, I decide as the director of my team and the potentially the project, is it something I want to take on, and is it enough for me to work with, and is it gonna get me, my company, my team, and the client moving forward to where we're trying to go?
Question when it comes to budget. So I've actually run into this problem myself, is that, I'll have like a discovery meeting where we kind of talk about the project, whatever, and then I ask them, so what's your budget? But a lot of people think of that question as they're trying to, gauge my pockets, or they're trying to do, they're trying to, increase the prices. If they're going to charge $500, if I say my budget is $1,200, they feel like, a lot of people feel like you're just trying to get more money out of them.
So,
what are your thoughts on that?
So I think that it comes with experience. I think that if they have that response digitally, it's hard. And so that's why I don't like to have too much back and forth digitally if they don't have a budget set. That's where these in-person meetings, but you have to figure out before then, is this even worth meeting? Because there's a lot of people that are gonna hit you up, they're gonna set up a meeting, they're gonna sit down, they're gonna smile in your face, you're gonna tell them a number that's crazy to them, they're gonna keep smiling in your face, they're gonna shake your hand and say, I'm gonna hit you up in a couple weeks, and you're never going to hear back from them again.
And sometimes there's clues in the email when people
there are clues.
When people say, I just want something real quick. Anytime somebody real quick, they ain't trying to pay that much.
And the average person would think, oh, well, they just was typing real quick.
Yeah.
Like, nah. When people send these messages to inquire about something that to us is big, you know what I'm saying? Like a project, a music video project to me is big. I'm not one of them directors that like I'm shooting 3 videos a day and I got 8 videos this week that we're doing. Like if I got a project, we're on this joint. I've set up the team, I've called everybody, touch base, I've locked in deposits, their schedules is good. That's already taken a few hours of my day.
Yeah.
Then we've on to planning your project, and me being the type of director I am and wanting my projects to move forward, I'm not just gonna show up to your set that you've picked, bring the camera and just shoot whatever's happening. I'm a part of the creative process with you. We're collaborating on this, even if it's a situation where you had a treatment ready already. Okay, well, how do I execute it?
Yeah.
That's just an idea. You know what I mean? We have to execute the idea, and I'm a
still gotta
pivotal
bring it all
process.
together,
I have to literally make this thing in your head. If it was, you know, if we're at that part of it, if you have a treatment, I have to make this treatment that's on paper reality and video.
True.
And so I'm a pivotal part of that process and have to be, you know what I mean? But there's clues, man. It's I'm just looking for a little video, anything that says real quick in it or something slight. Anytime the client is downplaying their own project, it's a red flag. Now, with that being said, anytime the client is overhyping the project, it's also a red flag. You will also get inquiries when people are like, yo, this about to be the dopest video I've got so far. We need you on this joint. We got all this happening. And then the moment you ask them, you know, that sounds like everything's good. So the moment you ask, what's the budget? It sounds like y'all should have everything squared away and ready.
They don't. They never have it
They're like,
together.
oh, well, you see, because we spent everything here. It's done. That's not a good client. They've already set up a lot of details that are important, but if they haven't decided on how much the person that's going to execute it is even worth to them yet, they've not really organized that very well.
True.
And that's not to say you can't turn that into a good client, but that client is going to have to start with the education first, where you have to tell them, well, look, I don't have set prices. You know, my team, if you don't have set prices, some people have a minimum. I also do have a minimum right now, but it changes every time. It's just depending on where everyone in my team is. Their prices change for what they need from me for a day. My prices change for what I need to get them on the project, you know. So
matter of fact, let me piggyback right there.
Okay.
There's a lot of solo shooters out here.
Right.
And you have a team.
Yeah.
How did you actually get from just shooting stuff by yourself to, you know, growing out this team that you have? Because I've seen some of your behind the scenes, and you have a good amount of people out there with you.
So I think that to me goes back to, we didn't really get too deep into it, but when I said invest in yourself, I wasn't speaking on gear. I was more so speaking on the time that it takes to develop the craft, putting yourself in positions where you can network with the people that are going to be able to help you. If you want to be the dopest solo shooter, like, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a lot of dope solo directors who shoot, they edit, they direct, they do documentaries, they do music videos. Some of them even act in their own stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that's all great. But if your goal is to build a team and to grow and to get a bigger set and to do these things that you see on TV or on the internet that are really dope, you have to invest in putting yourself in a position to ultimately have them opportunities. And so for me, that meant traveling to Atlanta. Everyone may not have something like that as an option. I personally was in a position where I could pack up and I had a place with a homie in Atlanta where I could crash with him for, you know, 2-3 weeks at a time, pay him a little bit of dollars, keep his apartment clean the same way I would keep my own. And I'm in Atlanta and I'm a networking and I'm working. And man, when I tell you the first time I went to Atlanta, I worked in 2 major studios. Shout out to House of Shoots, Atlanta, and shout out to
was it Joe Spike?
Joe Spike, yes sir. Shout out to him, and shout out to Phantom and Rihanna also. And then we also worked in studio space, which I was brought on to by Kinship Works Studios. Shout out to Tracy and Bitta, JB over there at Kinship. And I wasn't getting paid. A lot of people saw my Instagram and they're like, oh man, you shooting these big videos. And it's like, yo, I traveled down here on a whim to network. I contacted these people and said, hey, yo, look, if I happen to be in your city, could I pull up?
Yeah.
And
like, sure.
you know, naturally they're kind of like, for what?
Yeah.
And you know, I just, anything.
Yeah.
BTS, PA word. Fucking, I'll stand in the corner and don't say a word. Like, I'll sweep.
Yeah.
I don't know what you need, but
Right.
like, I just want to be there when y'all are doing what y'all do, because I need to see it on the bigger scale for myself.
Gotcha.
I just need to see it because all I've seen is the people around me do what they do, and I, you know, emulate it the best I can, or see it and critique it and try to, you know, amend my own version of that. But until you see a set run, you don't know what that looks like for real.
So what are a couple key things that you learned from being on those major sets?
Man,
because I know it had to be a couple things that like open up your eyes.
Success is where preparation and opportunity meet.
Yeah.
That's one of the major keys I learned down there on set. I went down there with like some knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't go down there on a tip of, I don't know anything, can you teach me stuff?
Yeah.
I went down there like, hey, look, I know a bit, but I don't know everything. And I know that what I do think I know, it may be other ways of knowing it.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing is definite, nothing is just that black and white. And so I went down there and told them basically, I have an open mind and I just want to learn and like maybe one day be a part of your team. I would love to, at least in the meanwhile, work with y'all. Like, it's not a competitive thing. I just want to be an asset to y'all and learn what I need so I can make other people assets for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, so like a lot of people ask about film school and stuff like that too.
Yeah, you can learn everything off YouTube almost, yeah?
Yeah,
or you really just pay attention.
You can learn a lot
on YouTube.
You can learn all the concepts and stuff. All the information is out there. But again, with the set, it's like, why would you spend $30,000-$40,000 of tuition to go to school?
Right.
Why not go to set?
Yeah. You can learn more from that.
You can intern for free. The first time I went to Atlanta, all the studios I showed up to, all the sets I worked, everything I was a part of was free. The second time I went to Atlanta, all I had to do was tell them I was there, and they hit me up to come to bring stuff to help out. And they threw me money afterwards for me being a key and an asset to them. So it's like, sometimes you have to take leaps and know when this can pay off better, you know what I'm saying, than $100. Like, if I hadn't shown up to a Tiana Taylor shoot where I shot BTS the whole time for 12 hours. If I hadn't done that and I was like, I need, you know, $400, I need $500 to do that, that's on overnight. Bro, I never would have met her DP. I never would have met her AD. I never would have met and networked with the professional ACs that were on set. I never would have met the entire art department at Kinship, who, you know what I'm saying, now I got plugged in with. If I ever have an artist that actually gives me a budget in Atlanta to work with, I got a whole art department.
You know where to take them to.
We got a whole casting directing team that I have access to. I got a DP down there. I got multiple DPs down there. Like, and all of that is just off of taking the leap and putting myself in a position where it's like, yo, so who are you? You know what I'm saying? And when you're being an asset on set, people want to know who you are too.
True.
I never seen that dude right there with the ponytail. Who's that running around with the camera taking all the pictures?
Right.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
Okay. It's a question I kind of ask everybody, but I feel like there's a blueprint to any industry or any career. So with you, what are the 3 things that you feel like if for any videographer, cinematographer coming up, if you do these a couple things, even if it's like, you know, do free work, do X, Y, and Z, you know, work on set, that you can actually build a name as a director?
Man, the only things that I know for sure work, because there's so many.
And I mean stuff that works for like anybody these
days.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There's so many exceptions to the rule out here because of social media. Because really all you have to do is go viral or be relevant. The two are kind of interchangeable sometimes, but aside from one of those things happening for you, I think networking within your market and within your profession. So hit up the other people that do what you do around you. You don't have to work with them, but know them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Cause it's gonna be sometimes they could throw you work. You might be able to throw them work. Y'all might be able to work together, learn some stuff.
I've had like slow months, yo, that coming up, or slow weeks coming up, and I'm like, dang, I ain't got that much stuff going on this month. And then all of a sudden, someone will hit me up out of nowhere who I helped out like 4, 5, 6, 7 months ago, maybe even a year ago sometimes. And I just be like, yo, I got a client. I'm out of town. I'm all booked up. And I really want to do it because it's easy money, but you know, can you do it?
Yeah.
I mean, just yesterday, in 45 minutes, I was able to take on a $150 gig for 45 minutes of my time, and then got lunch afterwards with the person, and he covered it. Because I was like, yo, you know, I appreciate, you know, made a nice interaction in meeting him, and congratulated him on the speech, and, you know, told him what I took from it, and he wanted to pick my brain about his speech.
That's dope.
He said, man, what'd you take from it? I hit him back with a couple of the points. He was discussing marketing, ironically, at VCU. And he said, you know, you mind getting lunch with me?
Sure.
I said, sure. Yeah, I just want to pick your brain, you know, talk to you a little bit about, you know, my speech, and then, you know, just about whatever. Yeah. I guarantee you he's going to be calling me again for some work.
Most definitely.
That's a great client.
Yeah.
That's a great client.
Yeah.
That's a professional client.
Right.
You know, so just network, be cordial with the people that do what you do around you. Don't worry too much about competing. Worry more about collaborating and just learning from one another, man. Because even if you are the best at what you do, I think there's a couple ways that you could be the best. You could be like LeBron and be the best, where he knows it, but there's no need to talk about it. Let's talk about making everyone else better around me.
Right.
Or you can kind of be like AI and be like, look, I'm the best on the team and everyone just needs to step up.
Everybody on my team sucks, and I'm going to put you on my back.
Shout outs to AI. Like, I loved watching AI growing up, and he's from VA, but I even think looking back, he knows that if he had a different mentality to his team overall, could have been better.
Yeah, most definitely.
And
but besides networking, though.
Okay, so networking, put yourself in a position to win, as far as whether that's being on set, whether that's reaching out to the clients you want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to do rock videos and you tired of doing rap videos, you don't want to do rap videos, you never did, hit up some rock bands.
Yeah.
Yo, I want to
shoot. Would you say, for somebody that does that, would you suggest?
Should they do free work?
Yeah.
No. Make sure that they know that the value you're bringing has a cost associated, even if it's not paying you necessarily.
Okay.
So approach that man and say, hey, look, I want to shoot y'all a dope music video. I haven't shot a rock music video, or I haven't even shot a music video before, but I want to. I have this camera and this gear, and we could do a little bit. But look, if y'all gave me $300-$400 to work with, this is where I could spend it at.
Okay.
We could get this. I could have this studio for this amount of hours, and y'all can come in and we can do this fun stuff. Have some references for them. Show them what you want to do. Know where you going or where you want to go. And it's like, damn, what was the movie where they say if you build it, they'll come?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, man. If you build it, they'll come. Like, help the clients understand what you're trying to do with them. They don't know. Ain't no one else is in your head to know what vision you have for yourself and where you want to be at.
Okay. So do you believe in so you don't believe in doing free work? Because that's kind of how I grew my business. Like, I did like a free video for restaurants and kind of group.
It's free, but it's not free where like it didn't cost anything. I think the client still needs to understand that their product had a cost associated.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they're not paying for you to get some cool lights because you don't have lights, then I mean, they need to understand that you had to buy that camera to get started. So even if it's just a little bit for your time,
right, have
them be paying something, but make sure they know they're getting the value from it.
Okay.
So if they're gonna pay you $100, look, man, I only need $100 to shoot your video, but half of it is gonna cover the week I want to spend editing it. I'm gonna edit it in my free time every day when I get off work. You know what I'm saying? It's probably gonna be 3-4 hours a night, every day this week, and then I'll be done at the end of the week for you. And then the other $50, I need to go get a light. I had to rent a light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this is what your video called this video. And then when they get the product back, they're like, oh, okay, so that's what $50 of editing looks like and $50 with a light. Okay, I get it.
Gotcha.
If I had been able to spend a little bit more money, literally, we'd have another light, we'd have more time, So it starts to develop a better understanding with them, because otherwise, like, you will just run yourself into a hole.
Oh, most definitely. 100%.
Now, if you want to do passion projects, I think free work and passion projects, I think the semantics of it is important.
Okay.
So to me,
what is the difference?
To me, the difference of a passion project and free work is I'm literally showing up, I'm working for you, I'm delivering you your product, and I'm gone and I did it for free work. To me, a passion project is mine.
Okay.
And now that has another conversation that comes along with it, and that's part of my Diamond Media channel, where I've done passion project. Any video you see on the Diamond Media channel was a video I took on as a passion project where the majority of the money from that went back into the video.
Right. Okay.
And so I actually own those videos. I own the rights to them, and I own the rights to host them, post them, and share. Now the artists can promote them all they want and send them to blogs and all that type of deal. But as far as the traffic, where it's gonna go, it's gonna come through my Diamond Media channel, because Diamond Media owns and produces those videos. Now that was a way that I could do $300, $400 music videos, make them look grand, and me still be investing something into myself, because now down the road, you know, heaven forbid, when the YouTube channel grows big enough, I'll be getting some ad money back one day. And I was able to control those projects creatively because of that.
That's the best way about doing it for, you know, a passion project. Like I said, that's how I grew my business. Like I was doing, you know, either free or, you know, cheaper. Actually, not, it was free projects where I'll shoot for like a restaurant or something like that. I can really do it exactly how I want to.
Yeah, you had creative control over things.
And now, like, I'm actually making money off those because people saw that, hey, you did that video with such and such, you did it with this venue, and now they're paying me larger amount of money to be able to do their projects. So
yeah, so to me, those are PPPs, portfolio passion projects, and like you need those.
Yeah, 100%.
You need those to be able to piggyback off what I said before, control where you're going and what you want to be doing. Because if you can take a picture of a water bottle on the table, people assume you could take a picture of anything else.
Yeah.
And maybe you can, but maybe you don't want to.
Right.
Maybe you want to take pictures of water bottles. You know what I mean? It might be a boring job, but yo, someone takes a picture of the products. You know what I mean? That's someone's job. Is they like hanging out in a studio with really bright lights and white walls, and they like taking creative pictures of boring stuff.
Gotcha.
You know, so just know and control where you're going with those portfolio passion projects, and let those be what you build momentum on to where you want to go next. But don't refer to it and call it, in my opinion, free work.
No.
It just makes you come off as someone that's willing to work for free.
True.
And you're not. You're working for yourself when you're doing a passion project. You're literally investing into your future and what you're going to be doing next. Because people are going to see that project and they're going to say, oh, okay, that's what he did. Oh, damn. Okay.
I need to pay for that.
I need this. Man, these joints keep getting better. Like, the next joint got to be better.
Right.
That's what you want.
Okay.
And so you have to be in control to do that.
Most definitely. So, question for you. I believe in the theory you got to spend money to make money. So what is something that you spent money on that has brought back the most in return?
I'm gonna say something silly. A vehicle.
Okay.
A vehicle to move the gear that we've had to also invest in. We've had to invest a lot in lights and grip gear. I've personally found in doing what we do, I know everyone on this channel isn't necessarily here for creative end of it, but if you do video or photography, investing in lighting and if you do video, grip gear is, and then that time getting on set and seeing professionals use the gear, know what it's called, know what's okay to do it in and what's not, that has been like one of the best returns on investment, man.
I can definitely see that.
A vehicle to move the gear and the gear that should be filling it has been the right gear to fill it.
Okay. All right. Cool. So what's next for you and your company, man?
Next for me and my company. So I was actually getting ready to go back on one of those Atlanta ventures.
Okay.
Maybe about a month ago. And then I got contacted to do a few more projects back here this past month recently in September. And so I stayed, I actually brought up one of my homies, shout out to Rexway, Gallery Rexway down there in Atlanta. He came up and DP'd one of the projects for me. And Literally right now, we are just talking with the producer that paid for these projects, discussing the rollout and the promotion and all that they're gonna do on it and what's needed from us.
Yeah.
And this month of October, I had 4 weddings booked. 4 weddings and a short film festival this past weekend that I participated in with another team. Shout outs to In My Mind Media. But I think after this month, if things don't shake here in Virginia a little bit more frequently on the music video end, I'm gonna set aside some time for myself. I'm gonna clear out the schedule and I'm gonna head back down to Atlanta for a few weeks and do some more networking. Get in the studio with a few more directors and the same ones that I do know, and just figure out any ways to be a part of something a little bit bigger down there.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
right.
And then it'll be right back to VA to bring it all back home like I do.
Yeah. Okay, bet. So as we wrap this up, where can people find you at, man?
You can't find me at all, to be honest. But you can find info about you can't find me at all, to be honest. But you can find info about me on my Instagram account. You can follow my work on Instagram at Jordan Gonzalez _DDM. My website is diamond.media, allspelledout.com. From there, you can hit us up about weddings. You can check out all our latest music videos. Anything you need, it's available. What you do need is available.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't need to find me in real life until you do.
All right, cool. Once again, I definitely appreciate you sitting down. Like, this was a great conversation that I feel like I haven't had with anybody else.
Yeah, I feel like we could keep talking honestly
I know
all day long.
I had like 5 or 6 questions already off the top of my head, but got to wrap this up sooner or later. So, once again, appreciate it. So,
yes, sir.
Once again, and you can find me everywhere, Shad Harris, as well as ShadHarris.com, as well as my company, The Rebel Society. And that's pretty much it. So, good day, good evening, good night, and we're out.